Oh man, alright. Now it's time to talk about a game I really love. Battlefront 2 is by far my favorite shooter for the PlayStation 2. This is just an entertaining game, and unlike the first Battlefront, I actually like most of the maps on this one. However, first we gotta go over a few rules. To begin with, the space maps aren't going to be on this list, as I don't care for them. Second, reused maps from the original Battlefront are allowed as long as they have some differences, like new modes to fight in. And of course, this is my list of my favorites for whatever reason that I like the map. I really don't know what most people consider to be the best map in this game, so I will be curious as to see how people react to mine. Anyway, let's get into my 10 favorite Battlefront 2 maps. One advantage that the maps of Battlefront 2 have over the original is that they are smaller with objects to interact with and things to climb, at least more of them. Taboo, or however you pronounce it, however, is a bit lacking. Let's go over the positives first, starting with its location. Being at a docking center in some weird endless pit creates an interesting location for me. The hallway can get pretty intense at times, and there are some nice places to use for sniping, and the base at the large hut is a fun arena. My biggest issue is that the map lacks much exploration. It's a decent map, but not great. However, I still play on it from time to time. So here we have a tie, and that's because we have two maps from the previous game. First, Hoth. While this map is very open and at times a boring one, I find it to be more engaging in this game thanks to a change in some of the mechanics. But what puts it on this list is Hunt Mode. Smacking rebel troops as a Wampa is so funny and feels amazing. Then we have Mos Eisley, which is a very large map that can be confusing to navigate, and it does offer a lot in terms of exploration, like the bar, which is fantastic. Hunt Mode having Tusken Raiders versus Jawas, which is strange but charming and kinda hilarious. And then we have Assault Mode, letting you play as all the heroes versus villains, which is incredibly fun. Especially with characters like Boba Fett and Jango Fett, where you can kinda get into places you probably weren't supposed to. These maps aren't amazing, but with these extra modes, they managed to make it onto my list. I have to confess, I don't have too much to say about this one. I find the whole floating platforms with the ruined bridges between them to be a cool location, and leads to some entertaining battles. Some bridges have these narrow extending sections that are fun to jump from, as long as you don't fall down any of the pits. You have to keep an eye out on some of the bridges due to turrets, and I often seem to get vehicles fighting each other at the plaza quite often, so there's always something going on. It's just overall a pretty good map. Alright, here's where things start getting great. Two things I really enjoy about Battlefront 2's maps is exploring them in slightly unintentional ways, and objects on the maps having an effect on its layout. You know how satisfying it is to destroy a panel that then makes some bridges drop with enemies on them? It's fantastic. There are plenty of rooms where shootouts can occur, some tight hallways that can admittedly suck when some idiot misthrows a grenade, but otherwise are pretty entertaining. And there are multiple ways to enter certain locations, which makes learning the map's layout even more important. To sum things up, I just have a lot of fun on this map. To keep things simple, we have Coruscant. To me, the most notable location on this map is the main plaza, as quite the dangerous shootouts often happen here. It's a place where droidekas will take a liking to quite quickly. While I do have a good time joining into the fray, I actually like the library way more. Having a battle in the library is neat to me, but what makes this one of the more interesting locations is that there are two levels to it. In addition to that, there is a darker room that rarely do I get fights happening here, but when I do, it's really engaging. Not only that, but there are a few circular rooms and a large hallway to explore as well. While this map isn't huge, it still surprisingly has a lot of variety to its locations, which is why I like it so much. Hey, look at that! Another Kashyyyk map, except better. Sure, it's somewhat similar to the beach map from the first Battlefront, it's just, to me, the beach on this map is a great improvement. I think it's a shame that the southern map isn't as interesting as the most northern part of the map, which is guarded by a large wall that can be brought down. Not only that, but there are plenty of small wall structures on the beach, which I often use to hide from all the tanks shooting at each other. One of the coolest sections to me is this large bridge with cannons that goes over a large body of water. Speaking of which, thankfully the water in this game doesn't slow you down, so having fights there isn't too much of an issue. On top of that, I like throwing grenades in the water to see the fish come up. Don't get me wrong, when things go south for you on this map, it can be rather difficult to recover, but win or lose, I still have a good time. Despite how dark the lighting is on this map, it still has enough positive qualities to me. Here we have to deal with some tight hallways, a few stairways, and most importantly, Jabba's room. Yes, Jabba is present as well, and while you can shoot him, he never dies. Instead, he'll drop you down his trapdoor that leads to the Renacore, which is awesome. Once again, you can't kill the Renacore, though he can kill you, and it's actually kinda funny. For me, this is one of those places that I just have fun exploring with all its rooms and its little references. There is, however, one truly great negative to this map, and that's the Gormirian guards. These fat-ass pigs are surprisingly fast and can practically kill you in one hit. A positive to this is that at least the guards will attack anyone rather than just one side, so, you know, no one-sided loyalty. They can still be an unpleasant shock at times, though. I won't lie, one of the biggest reasons this map is so high is simply because I love the alien mushroom forest look of it. It's filled with nice greens and blues, and isn't too large either. Thankfully, it isn't all just grass and bulbous plants. We have a river in the more northern section of the map, which has some large tree roots near it. Under some of these roots you can find a map, and a few others can be climbed up to give you an advantage over the enemies in the river. And lastly, we have a base that's near a destroyed walker, and my favorite base taking place atop of a large tree stump. This is one of those kind of maps that I've become very familiar with due to how often my sister and I would play on it, and because of this, I don't die too often here, which is kinda neat. For me, this is a cool looking lush forest that is entertaining to play on. I am so happy this map exists. That's right, the scene at the beginning of A New Hope can somewhat be played out in this game. First of all, this ship has a great color scheme to it, and I think it's neat how many of these rooms are darker while the hallways are pretty much white. The hallways can be kind of annoying with how tight some of them are, but good shootouts often happen here, which keeps them interesting and fun to me. Once again, we have a map that I enjoy exploring, so many places to check out, and to make things even better, these are places that are also great for battles. We have the hallways where Leia gives that message in map to R2-D2, there's the control room for the ship, and one of the more interesting ones being this room with a large generator. I don't know how else to really put it, but I love playing on this map. Yep, I love the Death Star. To be fair, this is a very simple map, but I have so much fun and great memories with it. We have an area with thin platforms to jump across and have the risk of falling to your death. There's the circular room with the bridge that can lead to some great fights. The room where Vader had choked out one of the Imperials, and the dock where the Falcon ends up in the movie. You can hang out in the section where the Death Star's laser is charged, and this can kill you as well. There's a lot of things that can kill you on this map. Lastly, we have my favorite place. The dark red hallways with the destroyable vent that leads you to the trash compactor, which yes, can also kill you. As you can tell, I have spent a lot of time exploring this map, but not only do I find it great to run around in, I think it's an awesome place to fight in. This is just, to me, the best map in the game. Like last time, I have a quick little dishonorable mention. At first, I was thinking of choosing Endor, cause it's boring, and the Ewoks are surprisingly overpowered at times. But instead, I went with Polis Mas, I think that's how you pronounce it, cause to me, this is a very uninteresting location. Sure, it's cool you can go outside in space and die if you aren't in a tank, but other than that, everything else about this map is so bland and unengaging. Well, that's my list, and next time I'll be back to doing some PS2 reviews. I think we'll take a look at an RPG that began on the PlayStation 2, so I'll see you all then.